Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show.
Well, I don't like this at all. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show for the pre-show. In a never-before-seen setup.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lights are working.
Yeah. Well, let's find out.
Let's go. They are.
I don't know.
Mine is at least.
I'm trying to figure out the last time. Hi, everybody. Oh, wow. Welcome to the pre-show. So here's the problem. Now that never-before-seen. I talk very loud.
I don't know if it's actually echoing on the actual thing or not.
We'll see. I don't know the last time I sat at a desk with you. It might have been on Valley. Like as far as like sitting at the same table.
Yeah.
And discussing things, because I guess we can tell people a little bit about what's going on here. We are in changes around here.
Yep.
Do I need to back up?
No, you're good.
Okay. That are going to displace us for a bit, including starting in about, 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
About a week and a half. We are going to be kicked out of our studio. Rent came due and we didn't have it. And so we have got to find a new home for our new studio. Now, we have a plan that we're not quite ready to reveal at this moment. But long story short, at the moment, and so that's what we're doing. That's why Pickle is sitting next to me.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out the audio. I think it's good now.
Okay, I sure hope so. So that's why we're sitting at the same table. We are back. We apologize. Another part of the reason we were supposed to have a show on Tuesday. I took off Crudo Monday. Some people don't have that dog.
I fixed it.
Oh, great job.
Thanks.
Some people don't have that dog in them to take off Crudo Monday.
Yeah.
And so we had to cancel the show on Tuesday, and then yesterday was a planned day off because we were supposed to have our big editorial like year kickoff meeting, which we did. But now we're back for 2 shows in a row. We're gonna do a show today and a show tomorrow. How about that?
That's big time.
I would say that
It's the first time
honestly.
we've done 2 shows in a long time.
I don't want to toss around the word hero,
But
but I mean, I think you guys understand the kind of heroics that we're putting on. But yeah, so this is actually what's interesting. We were talking about this. The original setup, there's a decent chance that you never sit there again.
yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like I did the work to put this all together. Why take it down again in a week?
Yeah.
You know,
Because then in a week, do we want to tell people where we're going to be broadcasting from in 10 days?
we can.
Is that Monday?
The 26th.
Is that right? Monday the 26th. 2026 is when like full-on renovations start around here.
Mm-hmm.
And so Pickle and I were like, well, we don't want to go dark because it's gonna be like 2 to 3 weeks.
No, it's going to be a month.
A
It's
month?
going to be over a month.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah, we will be
Displaced.
displaced from February 26th through April 8th will be
Until
the first
April
time.
8th. Golly. So
it'll be actually be like about 6 weeks.
Yeah, and so we didn't want to go dark during that time. So we kind of put our heads together, like, okay, where's a space that we can set up our equipment and we can continue to bring people the quality programming they've come to expect from Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And the solution we landed on was your couch.
Yeah, literally. So we will be doing actually every single show live from the Bachelorette pad.
Oh God!
Because we'll have TFT. You're going to drive up 35 and come to the Bachelorette pad every single day. On Wednesdays, Carter and Ish have agreed to drive up and do ROF, and then Mallory and I live together. That is the Bachelorette pad. So WTF live from the Bachelorette pad. That will be fun.
Oh my God!
That will be fun.
What have we done here?
So yeah. Anyway, we've just got a slew of Dave Campbell's people coming over every single day of the week. But it should be good. Mallory said that she really wants to be just like in the background, like making lunch or something.
That would
like
actually
why?
that would be a really good bit. What I want to do is I want to have
Where in the world is Mallory?
I want to have a daily check-in with Mallory and just be like, "Hey Mallory, what's up?" Like
We need to put like a remote cam up in her room and just be like, "Hey, how's it going up
and,
there?"
Like, I don't and I just want her like in her Jimmy Jams,
Yeah.
just like eating cereal at like noon. She's like, "What's up, guys?" You know what I mean?
Leave me alone.
Like on her day off, she's
Yes.
like eating porridge. I just presume she seems like a porridge person.
Yeah, we have an overwhelming amount of porridge at the Bachelorette pad.
don't
Porridge
know.
and Bachelorette, that goes
She's got real
hand in hand.
She's got real porridge vibes.
Yeah. We should not broadcast from our guest bedroom because the guest bedroom is wedding/bachelorette storage from hell, not only for my stuff, but Mallory is also the maid of honor in another wedding.
She's in like 9 weddings.
Yeah, and so it's like she is currently planning that bachelorette trip, so it looks like floral and cowboy hat throw up all over that room.
Cool. I'm so excited to come over to your house.
There are worse places. Hey, at least we don't have to do it like we did with COVID, where we were really secluding each other. So like we had the terrible delay.
That's the thing, because we talked about we were like we could just do it like we did during COVID, but like I don't know about you guys. I do not like going back and watching those.
This week in crickets, Cruton.
I know, like the
Oh
delay.
shoot! I guess we gotta let Powers know too if we're gonna keep doing this week in Cruton.
And we do need to keep.
Oh yeah,
doing
absolutely.
Cruton. Yeah, we have to continue to do that. Anyway,
Wednesday's gonna be a lot of people in the house then, because it's gonna be that, and then as y'all are exiting, ROF is coming in.
You guys should just like. It should be like Crockpot Wednesday. And
Yeah.
people can go over.
I was
Just
just
get
gonna
some
say
chili.
that's a great idea.
I'm an idea.
Yeah,
man.
we'll just feed everybody lunch on Wednesdays. That's perfect.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, and Adam's gonna be like camaraderie.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly right.
like
It'll be great. Yeah, see, we're building community here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Mallory said, "Let's go."
All right, hit the theme expo.
I don't know where it is on
Oh,
this
no.
computer. Here it is.
We're all starting over. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show that's feeling claustrophobic. My name is Greg Tepper.
I'm not that bad.
I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you'll listen to the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle. Hi, Ashley Pickle.
Hi, so right now they're looking at my webcam. You might notice a different backdrop. That's because BAM! Oh, wait. Hang on.
This
BAM!
This makes me very tense. Because normally, this is true. Like, normally, like, if you guys ever, like, this is my single cam right here,
Yeah.
right? Pickle usually sits right over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have to, like, I don't like buzzing the lens. I don't like looking directly into the lens because it feels very, like, like that. It feels very, like, insincere.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of times, if you guys notice, go back and watch, I'm just, like, talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels more natural. It feels like
Yep.
less of a jerk than just, like, buzzing the camera and staring at the camera. Anyway, all that's to say, hi, Pickle. It's good to see you.
Hello.
Welcome to the desk.
This feels like more of a podcast, to be honest with you.
It does. Feels very podcasty.
This feels very, like, relaxed, podcasty. Like, it is relaxed over there, but you're also, like, in your own little setup.
Yeah.
This is more like bros chilling.
That's us. We're just broing down. Today is Thursday, February 15th, 2024. It is some number of days till Thanksgiving, 287 days to Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to noted rappers Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, nice.
And also turning 21 today. Can I get the single?
You are on the single.
Like, I don't have program.
You should pull it up.
Turning 21 today. Lil Poopy.
Is it Poopy or Poppy?
I'm looking at it right now. It says
And it's
Lil
Poopy. All right. Megan the Stallion she's from H-Town.
She was born in San Antonio. Yes.
Oh,
Correct.
even better.
Correct.
210.
Yeah.
It's episode 1,700 and whatever. It's
31.
Thank you. On today's show, folks, we got some headlines from across the state, including a job opening that is a job that has become open for the first time in my life. We'll talk about that. And then back half of the show, it's Math Tuesday, where we're going to dive into the numbers. We're still kind of dissecting realignment, things like that. And so one of the things I wanted to look at is which teams got the best draws compared to where they were, and maybe which teams the road got a little bit tougher. We'll talk about that coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door? Pickle, I'm going to keep looking here. Like, I'm sorry.
This is weird.
Yeah. My face or being in front of my face?
Please don't make me answer that on the air.
It was jersey number 69, Daniel Agnew, TJ Hudson, and Ed McElroy. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome, friends.
We appreciate you spending Little Poopy's birthday with us here on Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Let's get to some headlines from across the state. There's been a few things that I've wanted to talk about. First of all, it's probably too late to talk about the Super Bowl. The Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Superb bow.
We watched the Super Bowl.
It was a good game.
It was a good game. I watched the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Which rocks. We did not.
I watched the Nickelodeon broadcast, and look, they're doing bits. Obviously, they have SpongeBob there, but I will say this about the Nickelodeon broadcast of the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They were very clearly being intentional about like explaining things to the audience, knowing that there's a fair chance that this is the first like football game they've seen, or like they've only seen a number of football games. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Like at the very beginning, they were like, all right, you see that yellow line? Like they have 4 plays to get 10 yards. And I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that we take for granted, like if you're watching the show, like you probably know a little bit about football. Like you have a baseline understanding of how football works.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, I think we take for granted how complicated it is and how complicated it looks and like how high the barrier of entry is.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes you feel dumb.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't know how this works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one of the things where it gets hard at that point to like ask too many questions, because when you're watching it with someone that really gets it, it's hard to put something that you genuinely like firmly grasp into terminology that people that have no idea what you're talking about are going to get it. It's hard to dumb that down in your mind.
It is, and like, you know, it's one of the things that like I'm on like I did a couple of games on color commentary for ballet, right? The state championship games. And like if I went out there and I explained what a false start was, like on the air, my producer would get in my ear and say,
"Stop.
What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But like I think that is a really good avenue of like, hey, we know our audience. We're theoretically it's going to be a younger audience who probably is not as familiar. We want to welcome them to the party. And I think there's a real lesson in meeting people where they are there. And I think that's great. Like, I don't know. Like, it wasn't perfect. They had Adam Schefter's daughter out there, which was strange. And then, of course, SpongeBob and Patrick, Larry the Lobster was running around.
I saw Plankton was attacking.
Plankton was, they had a whole bit where Squidward was waiting in line for the bathroom the entire time.
I saw that on Twitter.
Dora the Explorer was the rules analyst.
That's solid.
But it's just, I don't know. I thought it was really like, I thought it was because there's a good chance, especially with the Super Bowl, that that's the only football game that you're watching all year.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
they're not locked into UTSA and North Texas.
No.
You know?
No.
Probably not. That would be a
Maybe
weird,
they are.
That'd be a weird combo.
Super Bowl and UTSA and North Texas. Those are
rock.
your two.
Yeah.
No, it was cool. Mallory and I were in San Marcos because we were having a meeting with the THSCA the next day. And when we went to go grab a bite to eat, and we saw them setting up a big old projector screen in the hotel. We were at the Embassy Suites in San Marcos. And, yeah, so they had a huge projector screen up with, like, speakers and stuff. So we just went back to the hotel, sat in the lobby. We were 2 of the only people in there, but it was cool.
Watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to the former Dallas Texans. The Kansas City Chiefs. I think I've told you this, but like my grandfather was a Texans fan. Like, and so he like when I grew up, like growing up, he was a Chiefs fan,
Right.
Because he's like, no, that's my team. I don't know who these carpetbaggers are that play in Arlington or in Irving at the time, but it's like, you know, I'm a Dallas Texans fan, and that's my team. So anyway, congratulations to the Chiefs. Some news from the high school football world. This was broken by Matt Stepp on TexasFootball.com last week, and I think it's worth talking about. So Realignment came out, and one of the things that we looked at was some of the odd districts out there. One of them was 3-3A Division 2. 3-3A Division 2 is Crane, Alpine, Anthony, and Tornillo, way out west. It's a 4-team district. Obviously, with 4 teams making the playoffs, congratulations, you all make the playoffs. If you look at the map, it makes a lot of sense because there's no one else out there or way far flung. The problem is that last week, Tornillo's school board voted to suspend football for the next 2 seasons. Basically, bottom line of it is that they just don't have enough kids.
Right.
They don't have enough. It's a 3A Division 2 school, but like they just do not have enough football players out there.
Yeah.
And so they've decided to suspend football for a couple of years. That's problematic. Like that happens every year. It happens a lot in the 6-man world of like, oh, we're just not going to play this year, etc. Whatever. It happens. What is problematic is that it is a 4-team district, which means that now it's a 3-team district. Now, it is probably simpler than it seems that the winner of District 4, 3A Division 2, which, like, let's just say it's Wall. Wall would just get a bye in the first round of the playoffs. I think they played Tornillo last year in the first round of the playoffs, and they beat them pretty handily.
Right.
It does sound like, from what I understand, I believe Carl Padilla reported this from the Padilla poll, that they are going to move Odessa Compass from District 4, which is probably the next closest to that area, from District 4 to District 3.
Because how many teams did District 4 have
Had
in
5.
it? 5. So
I
then
think
it's
now
2,
it's
4.
or either 5 or 6. But yeah, so either way, they'll now have two districts with 4 teams in it.
Yeah. Which, if you're traveling that far anyway, what's an extra handful of miles?
And by the way, like Odessa Compass,
it might not even be that
they
much
were
further.
they were in with them the past realignment too. They were with Alpine and Crane, so that's something to keep an eye on there. There's still gonna be some moving parts with realignment. It's probably not firmly set because I don't think the UIL has heard all the appeals yet. But keep an eye on that. The big coaching change of the offseason, I would say, would probably be Todd Dodge taking the job at Lovejoy. He has found his offensive coordinator, and it is a familiar name, Marshall Williams. Marshall Williams, who was most recently the head coach at Keller Timber Creek, is going to be leaving the Timber Creek to become the new offensive coordinator at Lovejoy. Marshall Williams is a guy who's got ties to South Lake Carroll, so there's a Dodge connection there. I am sure these guys have met.
Yeah.
There is also, and I don't want to lay this up too far, because who knows what the future is going to hold. But when I first heard this reported by Matt Stapp on TexasFootball.com, my first thought was, okay, Todd Dodge is probably not going to coach for 20 years.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, if you're a guy, like, I think there might be this notion of, like, why would you leave a head coaching job at a 6A program, become an office coordinator at a 5A program? Because if you can, I wonder if, and this is me speculating, I haven't talked with Coach Williams, I wonder if there's a sense of, like, oh, when Coach retires again, or, becomes the new head coach of Texas, I will be next in line. That to me, I would imagine, has some pull in this.
Well, and Dodge did that at Westlake with Tony Salazar. It's like, man, come over here, let me get you like primed and ready, and then not putting the school board in a stronghold, but just being like, hi. Yeah, I have a guy that's ready. If you want to continue the success, here they are. So, yeah, it would make perfect sense.
Palestine has found their next head coach, and it is a name familiar to Dave Campbell's Texas football. James Reyes is going to be the next head coach there. He's done fabulous things at Lumberton. Really helped turn that program around and turned Lumberton, the Raiders, into a real winner. Coach Reyes is going to replace Lance Angel, who announced his retirement in early January. But Reyes, they went 11-2 in 2022, which is pretty remarkable. Lumberton had been a program kind of struggling for a while, so he really took over and did some great things. One of the big high-profile openings across the state of Texas was Shadow Creek, Alvin Shadow Creek, if you may remember that Brad Butler, who retired in January. They have promoted from within. They promoted their assistant head coach, Tyrone Green, to be the next head coach. We had heard some pretty big names sniffing around that job. This was a job that was in high demand. People were after this job.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a state championship winning program. It's in my opinion, the right part of the state as far as talent is concerned. There's a lot of talent in Alvin ISD. I know it's
a nice little place to live down there.
Nice place to live. I know it's getting split a variety of different ways with Manville and Iowa Colony and Shadow Creek, but still, they end up staying in-house, promoting Tyrone Green to be the next head coach there.
Which I was just a little surprised. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It was technically really like only the second hiring that they had ever done at that school, so you probably take your time, see what interest you can get from people. But it seemed like that lasted a long time to then just go and promote within. But obviously, he beat out all the other candidates.
Yeah, they did their due diligence.
Yep.
And I do want to mention, I want to pay off a tease. I want to talk about now what is one of the most high-profile openings in the state of Texas. Corpus Christi Calallen is open. Steve Campbell has retired. He is he took over for Phil Danaher when Phil Danaher retired in 2022. He was head coach for a couple of years. He was the longtime consigliere
40
for
years, I
for
think.
Phil Danaher. He was his right hand man. I mean, they were tied at the hip.
Yeah.
Phil Danaher and Steve Campbell. Steve Campbell became the head coach, went 20-5 in 2 seasons. He announced announced his retirement on Tuesday afternoon. Cal Allen is open. What is notable about that? Think back to 2022 when Phil Danaher retired. It was, I don't know if it was instantaneous, but it was
the next day.
Well known
Yeah.
that they were going to promote Steve Campbell. That he's going to be the next head coach. It's done and dusted. No need. This is the first time that Cal Allen is open, that they are looking for a coach since 1984. 1984 is when Phil Danaher got hired from Hampshire Finette. And since then, they have had coaching stability. Like, I want you to think about Pilot Point. Pilot Point's head coach is stepping down today. Matt Sepp reported that. They're going to be on their 4th coach in 4 years this year, in 2024. Their 4th coach in 4 years. Cal Allen has had 2 coaches in my entire life, in 40 years.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
Insane. Like, shoot, my mom I don't even think was in high school yet. You know, that's crazy.
It is, yeah, since 1984. And look,
wow.
Cal Allen is one of the most, I mean, it's a strange situation because on one hand, it is one of the most consistently excellent programs on the Coastal Bend, plain and simple. It is the flagship program of the Coastal Bend.
Absolutely.
And has been, they produced the winningest coach in Texas
40 years.
history. However, you want to talk about big shoes to fill. That you're talking about 2 guys in Campbell and Danaher who, and I know this is a strange thing to say, but they combined to win like 400 and what? How many did Danaher finish with?
432.
430, something like that. So they combined to over 500 wins in his career. Although he did some at Hampshire Finette beforehand. I would need to know how many he had at Cal Allen. I would need to look that up. But yeah, at least 450 wins over these years. And you're stepping in that role, so it's like big shoes to fill. You talk about not wanting to be the guy after the guy.
Right.
It's like, who wants to take over after Nick Saban? It's like Steve Campbell was obviously the guy after Phil Danaher.
Right.
But essentially, because of the coaching, like him being like, there was no changes there.
No. And I think with Steve Campbell, you look at it and say, okay, why is he already retiring after 2 years? He was with Danaher for 40 years before then. Like, he is getting older. He probably wants to retire and hang up the cleats. And so it was like, just go out there, be able to say you were a head coach at a really good program for a couple of years, and then you hang up the hat too, and then be done with it. But it's not because Cal Allen's falling apart. It's because he's been coaching for years.
All right, I've got it. So he retired. He had 422 wins at Cal Allen.
22. Darn it. I said 432. I was close.
422 wins, and then you add in 20 more for Steve Campbell after 2 years. So these 2 guys, since 1984, combined for 442 wins. That's crazy.
That's insane.
Anyway, we wish Coach Steve Campbell the very best, as Cal Allen is truly open for the first time in 40 years. Watch this space. And those are some headlines from across the state. We are at Texas Football today. We're sitting abnormally close to one another here at Texas. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Also on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here in just a moment, Math Tuesday. Don't look at your calendar, but first, or from these goods and services. Welcome back, Texas Football Today. I'm Greg. That's Ashley. We don't normally sit this close together, but one of the reasons that we are is that Pickle cannot contain our excitement because today is Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Yo.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today, where we dive into the numbers of Texas high school football across the state of Texas. And we've talked about this on a couple of other Math Tuesdays. UIL realignment. Realignment is fundamentally just a big data dump. There's a lot of ways to slice it and dice it. So we're going to continue to slice and dice exactly what UIL realignment looks like. And one of the hot topics of that, and one of the questions we always get asked around here is, hey, who won? Who won realignment? Who are the teams that came out on top, and who lost? Who are the teams that came out got a tough draw, and got the short end of the stick? And I think that it's hard to parse that because, in some respects, you're obviously not in control of your own destiny, but furthermore, a lot of your realignment destiny is set by your geography. Mm-hmm. You got to remember that they are never going to put Canadian and Gunner in the same district.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Which would rock.
It would rock, objectively. We would love it.
But they would have to meet up for a district game in Abilene every single year.
It wouldn't happen.
No.
Because of that, you're always going to be in districts with teams around your size, mm-hmm. around your area, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the things that it's hard to parse. Obviously, if you're moving up a classification, moving up from 5A to 6A, things are probably going to get tougher.
Yeah.
Right?
For the most part. Not always.
Not always. Sometimes moving up is a blessing.
Yeah. But most times it is.
Theoretically, if you drop down a classification,
should be good.
You can be the big fish in the small pond, mm-hmm. right? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to remove some of the variables. And I wanted to exclude class changes.
Okay.
And just look at teams who their district alignment changed in a fundamental way.
Okay.
So they went from maybe a difficult district to an easier district. And obviously, look, again, if you're in the DFW Metroplex, you're going to be with teams in the DFW Metroplex. Mm-hmm. What I wanted to do was take a look at teams that didn't change classes, mm-hmm. but got favorable or maybe non-favorable draws. Let's start with the teams that got the favorable draws. The teams that got a draw from the UIL that is probably the most favorable to them. And this is, by the way, based on the computer rankings, the Dave mm-hmm. Campbell's Texas Football computer rankings. If you're looking for a big winner, and we talked about this on Realignment Day,
yeah,
it's the Mesquite schools
yes.
in 5A. North Mesquite and West Mesquite. They go from being in a district with Forney and Lancaster and Longview and Lufkin and Tyler and McKinney North, by the way.
Yep.
And they instead go into Carrollton ISD and Dallas ISD.
That is big dub.
That is a glow up. That is about as good as you could ask for if you were North Mesquite and West Mesquite, as far as going from a very difficult situation to, I think, a more manageable one. Next one, we're going across the Metroplex to Fort Worth, to Saginaw and Fort Worth South Hills. Remember, these were two teams that were in the Aledo, Denton, Ryan, Burleson Centennial District, add in Justin Northwestern in that one. Instead, in this alignment, they get shoved into Fort Worth ISD, which, if you're South Hills and you're Saginaw, you're saying, thank you very much. We don't have to deal. If you're playing Fort Worth North Side in Week 6 instead of Aledo, that's a pretty good deal, I would say, for Saginaw and Fort Worth South Hills. In the six-man ranks, I found this interesting. White Deer goes from a district with Miami, who was fantastic last year, McLean, who's got state championship pedigree, and Follett, who's always a contender, right? They're in 1-1A Division I. They do not change districts, but the district changes around them. A lot of it is that teams moved around from them. I believe Miami dropped down a classification, and they moved out Follett, things like that. And instead, they are put into district with six-man newcomer Booker, six-man newcomer Boys Ranch, Claude, who I believe is in their infancy as a six-man program, and then Will Dorado, who hasn't been playing football for all that long. This is, for White Deer, they're kind of the most known commodity in that district. They're going from being like fighting for a playoff spot to being, in my opinion, the favorite, or at least the most known commodity.
I know this is not who we're talking about, but that triggered something in my brain there. It's funny to think about with like Boys Ranch moving. I know we're not talking about moving classifications, but with Boys Ranch moving from 2A down to 1A, it's almost like, oh yeah, you would think that their numbers are probably a little bit bigger. They might be, more of a competitor, but on the other side, you're also going against teams who all they know is 6-man football, and you're trying to learn something new. So talk about a learning curve that could go one of two ways.
I think you're exactly right. If you want to talk about an exception to the idea of dropping down means you're going to get better.
Yeah, I think
dropping to 6-man is tough because it's just a different game, and you're playing against teams who they grew up playing.
That's the only thing that they know.
Taylor, also a winner in this regard. Again, they didn't change districts. It's in District 13, 4A Division 1, but instead of being in with San Antonio, Davenport, Lampasas, Marble Falls, Burnett, they are instead in with Austin ISD and Manor New Tech.
Which Manor New Tech is bumping up they're choosing to opt up a classification.
Even with LBJ in there, and certainly that's not going to be easy for them. Even with that, I would say that overall, and the numbers bear that out, that things got better for them. And then, kind of back up the greater DFW area, Alvarado and Waxahachie Life. Remember, these were the other two teams in the China Springs, Stephenville, La Vega district. Well, by virtue of that district kind of blowing up, La Vega and China Spring dropping down to 4A Division 2, Stephenville getting shipped out west, they now get into a district with Carrollton, Ranchview, Fort Worth, Castleberry, Lake Worth, Kennedale, and Kennedale, rather. Kennedale is probably the favorite in that district, but I would say for Alvarado and Waxahachie Life, they probably fared pretty well. So those are the teams that, according to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Computer, got favorable draws in realignment. What about the opposite of that? What about teams that maybe the road got a little tougher for them?
You see the thing and you go, oh, man.
Let's start with Lexington and Rogers.
Yeah.
Lexington and Rogers were, at Buffalo's pretty good. Clifton's had some good years, but essentially they were two of the favorites in District 13 3A Division 2. Now 13 3A Division 2 kind of changes around them, and they get Blanco, Comfort, and Thrall in their district as well.
Which was great for Llano.
Very good for Llano.
They went from 13 3A D1 to 13 3A D2, and yikes.
Out west, Bovina. Bovina was in a pretty manageable district. Rawls had a pretty good year, the Jackrabbits did, but Hale Center, Crosbyton, Lockney, Sudan. Now they get a snoot full of Groover and Stratford. Stratford dropping back down to a Division 1. They are going to get thrown in there. Farwell, pretty decent as well, so keep an eye on that. Down in San Antonio, Alamo Heights, Harlandale, and McCollum. They were in a district with San Antonio ISD, and Alamo Heights, go look at the numbers. Ran through that district. Absolutely ran through that district. I know Alamo Heights, if you talk with their coaching staff, they wanted to play a more difficult schedule. Well, great news. Bernie, San Antonio Veterans Memorial, you even add in a team like Victoria West and Kerrville-Tivy. The glow up is real as far as that's concerned. Big doings there. They got there's a lot of much more of a challenging path there for Alamo Heights, McCollum, and Harlandale.
Well, and they got lucky that Liberty Hill moved out because that was around where they were.
I think they
the
were
last time.
13.
Yeah. So it was they did catch one break with Liberty Hill not being shoved in there with Bernie in them.
DFW. In DFW, Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine. Now, Colleyville Heritage and Grapevine, I remember doing Realignment 2022 and thinking, okay, like they're going to romp through that district. And they did, by the way, with 4th Southwest, 4th ISD basically, Arlington Heights, Northside, Polytechnic, etc. Now, no such luck. Argyle, Mansfield Timberview, The Colony, Mansfield Summit, Everman. It's a much more difficult part.
That's a fun district.
It is a very tough.
That's a fun district.
And is that 9 teams? That's a 9-team district, so it's going to be a scramble. It's going to be a real scramble there. And there's going to be some really meaningful football games in October there in 3-5A Division 2. And then finally, Channelview. Poor Channelview. They go from Pasadena ISD plus Deer Park, and they get thrown into... if it weren't for 11-6A, it would be the other district of doom. The other district with 2 state finalists in 23-6A, specifically North Shore, Summer Creek, Atascocita, Sheldon CE King, etc. Channelview got a pretty rough draw as it stands. So there you go. There's crunching some numbers on the most favorable and least favorable draws for teams that again didn't change classifications. It's still a time for us to kind of figure out exactly what UIL realignment is going to mean for Texas high school writ large. But I would say for these teams, they got either good news a couple weeks ago or maybe some tough news.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts about realignment is watching. Like you get to live watch people's reactions because some people do the sigh of relief and other people do the sigh of oh no, and they're very distinct sighs.
Yes,
like you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Let's go all the way over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts, Ashley.
Has to travel a long way to get there. I don't really have any final thoughts other than the fact that I'm glad that this worked. Thanks for bearing through some of the audio issues during the pre-show, but we tried out a new system and it worked, which is good.
Which is good because, again, we're going to be on the road here starting in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. The show will be consistent.
Before we're able to move back into our humble abode here. So, yeah.
The mothership.
More information to come.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at TCTF. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram. Instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Do you want to do this? You never get to do this.
Yay. Vince Young. Come get your Player of the Year trophy.
We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.